In this, the grand finale to our Marfan Awareness Month campaign, we hear from you, our supporters. We thank Charlotte, Christopher, Joy, Helen and Laura, Lucy, and Michael, our chairman, for talking to the Trust about life with Marfan syndrome, and in doing so for making such an indelible contribution to our campaign. And we give special thanks to the little live wire that is Amaya for her special guest appearance. Marfan Awareness Month may be over, but our search for the missing 15,000 continues. That is, those 15,000 people living in the United Kingdom, perhaps unknowingly, with this potentially life-threatening condition. Please help us find the missing 15,000. Thank you. Bye.
I'd just gone to the doctor with a cough or something, just a local GP, and she was an ex-pediatrician from what I know. And so she listened to my chest and she heard a murmur in my chest, and then I was referred elsewhere.
When I was about 13, I had an operation for scoliosis. I had a spinal fusion, and then after that, I went to one of my checkup appointments, and it was a new doctor who I'd never seen before. And she literally just said, I don't think anyone's ever connected the dots with you. I think you've got Marfan syndrome. It's rare, it's really serious, it's life-threatening, and I'm referring you to cardiology, an eye specialist, and the genetics. And literally that it just snowballed from there. That was literally where my diagnosis began.
Laura and I are here to give some perspectives on Marfan syndrome. Matthew's no longer with us, sadly. He died in 2017 from complications from a Marfan-related heart surgery. We miss him greatly, we celebrate him every day, and we're really pleased to be able to share some perspectives with the Marfan community today. Matthew's diagnosis took place in 2007. He was age 6, and it was initiated by a GP referral to St George's Hospital under Dr. Tessa Homfrey. She considered several conditions to explain what was going on, some, like Stickler syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and ultimately she ordered some genetic testing, which took a skin sample from Matthew's shoulder, and that confirmed Marfan syndrome. She also did test both, myself and Matthew's dad, and we were negative, so that was a first-generation mutation that occurred in Matthew spontaneously. We were connected from that to Dr. Anne Childs. It was making sense of a number of disparate diagnoses and conditions that had emerged throughout the early years. He quickly developed an unusual growth pattern where he moved to the very top of the baby and child height scales. At home, we recognised that he didn't seem to be able to see very well. So I think for us, that diagnosis of Marfan syndrome, which occurred when he was 6, unified a lot of different issues which had been observed with a single explanation.
I was a young married mum. I had 3 children, all under the age of 5. And my eldest son, Christopher, was due to start primary school. And in those days, back in the day, we used to have a school doctor that came to do an assessment, and he watched Christopher walk across the floor from wall to wall. And he just sort of looked at me and paused and said, "Can I just ask, have you ever heard of something called Marfan syndrome?" And obviously I hadn't. And he said, "Look, I could be very wrong here, but I think Christopher might have it, and I'm going to refer you to the RBI in Newcastle." And we went for his appointment, and my husband came along, so we had to take the other children. And as soon as we saw Dr. Byrne, who became Professor John Byrne later on, he just took one look at us and measured our arm spans and did the fingers around the wrist assessments and all of those. And then he did echoes and ECGs on all of us. And it turned out that myself, Christopher, and my other 2 children, Peter and Robert, all had Marfan syndrome. I was so frightened, but also I was sort of relieved, because I suddenly realised that as a child growing up, there was a reason I was so tall, there was a reason I had terrible eyesight, and a reason I had big feet. And I just wished I'd known when I was a child.
She was diagnosed at 21 months, and it was because when she started walking, we noticed that she had a real rolled over foot and flat feet. So we had an appointment with the paediatrician, and it all came from there. When she was first born, we got told to keep an eye on the size of her head. Then she got taken really poorly, and she was in hospital, and they picked up on a heart defect. But instead of following that up, they put it down to the fact that she had a cold. So that was never, we were never checked again for that. People would always comment on her long fingers, saying that she could be a piano player, but because we didn't know the signs, we didn't think anything of it. And she also had, her heart used to pump out of her chest. Amaya is 3 years old. She's 4 in a few days, and she was 3.5 when she had a mitral valve repair.
For me, it happened out of the blue around about 26 years ago. I was getting on with my life as I saw it, wondering why in many ways I was a bit different to everyone else. I suppose the biggest, not only my height, but a lot of things seemed to be so much difficult for me to do, whether it was through tiredness, to live with it. But then out of the blue, 26 years ago, came a letter from Dr. Child saying that she was very much certain that I had a thing called Marfan syndrome. Well, what's that? The alarming thing that it could be quite life-changing for me, and there was issues about things were treatable, but what does that mean about the heart? And that in itself came about because my brother had been diagnosed. My brother is 7 years younger than me, and he'd been diagnosed via a optician who suggested that he might seek some advice, and he'd ended up going to see Dr. Child, and he hadn't told me because we weren't that close at the time, and so the letter came out of the blue.